Good morning. So I thought Psalm 1 would be a good place to start and to launch out of, to start a devotional page. And I'm going to read from Life Together by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. It's a really cool little book about, uh, it says the classic exploration of Christian community. So it just talks about church and how we gather together and things we're called to do with one another. And he writes this really great paragraph on page 48. I'm just going to read it to you, and it's in regards to the Psalms. He says, "Can we, with the psalmist, call ourselves innocent, devout, and righteous? We dare not do so insofar as we are ourselves. We cannot declare our virtue as the prayer of our own perverse heart, but we can and we should do so as a prayer out of the heart of Jesus Christ that was sinless and clean, out of the innocence of Christ in which he has given us a share by faith. In so far as Christ's blood and righteousness has become our beauty, our glorious dress, we can and we should pray the Psalms of innocence as Christ's prayer for us and gift to us. These Psalms, too, belong to us through him." That really helped change my understanding when I read the Psalms, and in particular, yeah, I think even the Old Testament, because we see a lot of talk about those who were blameless and those who walked in righteousness. And yet, we read in the New Testament, there's none righteous, no, not one, right? And we all are in need of God's grace and his saving work. But this helped put it in perspective. It's a prayer of faith. The righteous are righteous by faith. Even as far back as Genesis, we see God accounting righteousness to Abraham because of his faith. So just wanted to keep that as a backdrop as we walk quickly through Psalm 1. The first line says, "How blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers." And we'll see here that he presents at the beginning of the psalm, the launch pad into the rest of the psalms is a presentation of two paths, the path of righteousness and the path of wickedness. And as Christians who are now post Christ's crucifixion and resurrection, we look at that and see, I think, that through Jesus' words, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." So we see that the path of wickedness is a path we are inevitably on prior to Christ. And he uses the word blessed in the first line, which is happy, how truly joyful and glad is the man who does not follow in the counsel of those who are opposed to God. It makes it pretty common sense, right? As a Christian, we're not going to go to somebody who hates God to get counsel on spiritual things. We're going to go to somebody seasoned in the word. We're going to go to somebody who's uh, is evidently in a relationship with Christ that's alive and moving and breathing. And then the next line sort of builds on it, right? He goes from walking to standing in the path of sinners. And again, we're all sinners, but this is one who has not been reconciled to God through faith. And that's how we can, think of it. And then nor sit in the seat of scoffers. So it's kind of like you're walking by something and you see it, and then you stop long enough to stand, and then you get so deep in hatred towards God and his word and his people that you just start sitting in the seat of scoffers, and you begin to make fun of or to cause harm to or to say hurtful, hateful things towards people who serve Christ. So it's this kind of regression. And then he contrasts it. "But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night." And delight in Hebrew, that word we know has a part of the definition is malleable, to be malleable. So to delight yourself in the Lord is to be malleable to him, to let him shape you, let him form you. We have the famous verse, he will give you you delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. So it's literally saying, let your heart be shaped by God and place his godly desires within you, and he will grant those godly desires. Which really, that makes a lot of sense, right? Because a lot of times God doesn't do what we think he should do. He does what is best for us truly, and we're often only able to see that from hindsight, looking back. but in his law, so obviously in his word, he meditates day and night. And we can't ever, I think, read too much or spend too much time with God or pray too much or gather together too much. I mean, obviously there's a time and place for everything, but verse 3 says, "He will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and in whatever he does, he prospers." To me, this is such a beautiful picture of planted by streams of water. Water is always, or very often, referred to as symbolic to God's Spirit, or the washing of the water of the word. There is something about staying planted closely, and obviously God is the one who does the planting, but he plants us in his son. He plants his spirit within us. And just the same way in this poetic language, he's planting you by a stream of water. Really, the only thing you can do is stay there, right? Don't run away from it. Stay there. And by staying there, and I think this is about abiding. Abide in Christ, right? Abide in me and I in you. And without me, you can do nothing. When we abide and we stay where we're planted and we let his word and his spirit and his encouragement flow to us through whatever means he decides, people, the church, his word, preaching, faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word. If we'll just do that and stand in a posture of reception, your leaf won't wither, you'll yield fruit in proper season, and whatever you set your hand to, it will prosper. Like, what a beautiful promise we have. Um, Verse 4, "The wicked are not so, but they are like chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish." Wickedness is something that lacks substance. It lacks the substance of Christ. And if we know ourselves, we know we're fickle. And I think that's why we have to inevitably go through trials. We all have different trials, but those trials separate the wheat from the chaff in us. We have chaff, we have wickedness, we have these things that are being slowly removed by Christ. So he's just again coming back from verse 6, reflecting what he said in verse 1. There's a way before you. The result of the way of righteousness is Christ, and heaven, and the result of wickedness is judgment and separation from Christ. So, see you next time.